Welcome to Grace People Talk and GPT. Today we have lots of people here, and that's because we have a person, my close friend, Roger. He is from America and he lived in Turkey for 7 years. And I want to know what he was doing and what God really did for him or through him. I'm so interested in knowing that. And I have another friend of mine, and that is Felix. And he is from Bangalore, but he lived in Kolkata for about 2 years. Why did he go? And what was he doing there? And we want to explore those things through some questions. And the questions that to ask questions, I have Aglesh here and Pastor Emmanuel, and I will also be adding. And we want to learn. We want to learn, and we want to learn. And also, I believe God can teach you. And uh, that's all about the introduction. And I want to start with a question. You lived in America, right? So for an Indian, that country is like an amazing country. There are many people that want to go to America, but you were also part of a church. And at one point in time, you left America and you moved to Turkey. And to me, that's a big, big thing. And why did you consider going to Turkey?
Thank you, Pastor Guru, and thank you guys. It's an honor to be with you, Pastor Felix, Pastor Emmy, and Augie, newly married.
Yes.
Amazing. He's glowing. You can see him. You can see it in the podcast. He's glowing. And on the other side of this podcast, his wife is watching. So we're so happy. So it's great to have her. So it's an honor to be here and to be a part of your podcast and to talk about missions. And Pastor Felix is currently pastoring and is an active missionary. I was a missionary as of 9 months ago in a foreign field, but now I'm in Baltimore, and I'm a missionary in my home city and church. So to consider how I made it to Turkey, I would say there's three things. I was challenged. I was given a National Geographic magazine, and I was rebuked. Those are my three things for me. Missions. I recently was in the Bangalore church, and a young girl named Hannah from Hyderabad said that missions is the heartbeat of God. And I discovered that in Bible school, like we discovered that Pastor Felix was sharing, and you guys were sharing, that we discover God's heartbeat as we learn the Bible and ponder the world. And then someone gave me a National Geographic. It was about Istanbul. That really, the pictures stimulated my mind. I saw faces and colors and streets and food, and then the rebuke was, as an American, just to put it simply, we as a country have in the last couple decades not grown so fond or have found animosity towards other religions, especially in the East. Unfortunately, through the times of history, and I was kind of a part of that culture in a way that affected my thinking. And when I turned to the Lord really wanted to touch something in my heart. And it was that I didn't have love for all the people of the world, actually. So that was my rebuke. It was towards Muslims. And I think God draws us to those places that we don't want to go. So that's how I think we find ourselves doing that.
Yeah, Pastor Roger, I have a question. So, when you were contemplating to go among the Muslims and Turkey especially, what were your fears and what were your expectations?
Well, I think being a Christian, I was thinking like being outnumbered.
Yeah.
Like in my country, we're like many, Christians, we could say, or at least nominally. But like going to Turkey, it was like 99 this, less than 1%, 0.0. So I think that was my biggest fear. And then I think my second biggest fear was, and it was a projection, it was in the atmosphere. It was just that people think of me a certain way. They have set it in their mind a certain way. But after I went, I realized that there wasn't the hatred and anger and animosity toward me, and I was quite shocked by that. That they were curious and they wanted to like watch me drink their tea, and they wanted to see me stand and sit. So I was surprised. Like, and I think that's important in missions, that we would take that step to a place that's seemingly full of fear. And I think, at least for me, and it took time, of course, so it was a slow process, but I was surprised that the fears that I had were quickly removed. So, yeah.
So we have a lot of misconceptions which are being removed as we go.
I think speaking of fears, there's two things that comes to my mind. It's like for every day of the month and every day of the year, we have a verse, like "Do not fear, I am with you." And there's another verse, this that I've not given you a spirit of fear. Right? We can always reorient to God's provision, and then and be led by the Spirit. Yeah? And what was the most rewarding part, or what did you like the most, being on the mission field? Which part? What is the part that you did enjoy the most, and most rewarding things?
Oh, why don't you answer that one first? You go. You answer first, and I go.
What did I enjoy most? Okay. Um, I think, like Pastor Shala said, people are the same everywhere. The needs that people have in different geographies is the same everywhere. So, for me, just to like, I learned that, it's good to add value to people in whatever experience they are at the current moment. So I learned that yes, the gospel is there, but in whatever way I can help people out, and that is where the fragrance of Christ is going to minister to them. So that is what I enjoy doing right now. I seek out opportunities. If somebody on the street is asking for some direction, I will say, Dada, go this way. This is the route, because sometimes somebody has misguided them. So, and I saw someone fall down from the bike, so I was immediately there to help that guy out. So just trying to make that connection. And I really seek out opportunities how we can bless and add value to people. Yeah.
Pastor Felix, that's beautiful, because I think that's like the same. Like someone falls, like the child falls, and like they see the foreigner or the one who's not there, like pick them up. And you're saying like it's a fragrance, like it wasn't that complicated to get such a reward, or like to get a smile. Like my daughter has red hair. So just going there, people were like, it brought joy to them. Like we would like go to the mall or the restaurant, and people were just like, look at her red hair. They would like touch the red hair. And I realized, like, I'm so glad I came with my family. And it was such a reward, right? Like, isn't it? It's so cool.
In the book of the Acts, in Acts chapter 16, uh, till that point in time, for Apostle Paul, it is all about Asia. And then the man appears in his dream and he says, okay, come and help us. And now he is thinking about a different continent. He is thinking of Europe. So I asked Pastor Roger about, so what happened so that he could consider Turkey. So you are living in southern India, right? And so, and how many miles or kilometers Cal is from?
1800 kilometers.
1800 kilometers, right? And so, did you also, did God appear in a vision saying that come and help us? And why did you consider Cal? And there are multiple other cities, right? And so Naaman said, like, there are many more rivers that I could actually take a bath, and why would I even go to Israel, right, at that Jordan River? So what happened in
Beautiful.
your life?
Beautiful question, Pastor Guru. For me, in 2018, in Greater Grace, we do missions conferences. In 2018, in one of the messages, I heard this voice. Why are we not in Calcutta? Why are we not in Calcutta? And as natural as I was, I did go and inquire with some brothers in the church. Did you hear something like this? The preacher was saying, why are we not in Calcutta? And to my surprise, I really went with an expectation thinking they'll say yes, yes, yes. But no, I mean, at least four people I interviewed and they said, no, we didn't hear anything like that. Then I said, no, that was specifically for me then. And I have to go and check it out, because I don't want to disobey God, because if He has said something like that, so let me go and check out. So immediately in 2018, my good friends, Pastor Vijay and Rana, we traveled to Kolkata. We were in Calcutta for a week, just like checking out the place, and I really had no witness even there. But God spoke to me from a sign on the taxis of Calcutta. There is a sign written, no refusal. No refusal. So that's for the cab drivers, that they cannot refuse a ride. So I mean, I had no witness, but this sign was like blipping in my eyes, and it was coming back and again, like, you cannot refuse this. And it took me 4 years to, come to grips of it. And and I also wanted to grow, because I knew that my next level of growth will happen on the mission field and not in my home base. So I thought it's good that I consider making this decision, obey God. And I'm so thankful that my family also seconded this thought, and they were also like, yes, we want to go and explore this place out. So it's been 2 years, and I thank God for the move.
Yeah, that's so amazing that there are thousands of people in the crowd, and there is one man that hears the voice. I don't know if I was in that meeting, no? So I'm so condemned that no, I didn't hear the pastor speaking about Cal. And also, there are so many no places, no, like you said in Cal, that you saw something that is written behind the taxi. I don't know if someone else saw that. So it always happens in the Bible. If you notice in Acts chapter 9, and God is speaking from Jesus is speaking, and the Bible clearly says that it is Apostle Paul who heard it, but the others did not hear. Right, and so it's so amazing that there could be 1,000 people in the crowd, and God is kind of like taking one part of the message and speaking to you. Maybe the other part of the message someone else would have heard, and I don't know if he mentioned some other city, and somebody is like, "Did you go to that city?"
I know.
That is something that is awesome. Pastor Amy, you want to ask some questions?
Yeah, Pastor Felix, if you look at the Bible, all the men of God, when God called them, they had their own hesitations and fears. So, like that, did you have any fear, or what were your expectations when you considered obeying the call of God?
Um, I knew that Bengal is going to be a tough place. Calcutta is a tough place, but I also knew that God had opened an effective door. Why? Because I went on those trips, and we did like good gospel meetings in 4 to 5 places. I had a good contact who kind of took me to those places, and I was able to share the gospel, do some gospel meetings, and from there there was something like a fire within me that yes, we have an open window for a short time, so let me just go and capitalize on that. And that is why, because of that, we have 15 to 20 people in our church in the very first 2 years of our ministry. It's because of just capitalizing on the right time, right opportunity, which God shows up. Yeah.
I think, yeah, I like that point, like taking the small trips
Yeah.
to the mission field. We are not thinking about going, but you just tag along with someone who's going, and then that touches your heart.
Yeah.
And then God starts working in your heart, putting a burden or desire to go.
I would say the same for me in Turkey. Like, it was the small trips that then helped us get over that hump of like that big step, which was like to move. The trips help, and they open the eyes. Like, I don't know about you, but like I took my wife once after I took a couple trips, and we went and looked at apartments. Like we started to dream about we would take the trip and be like, this could be our street, like. So I think the trips are a huge part of it.
So we are talking, and we have two different men with us. One is from one country to another country. Another one is from southern part of India to northern part of India. So we want to talk more, and we have come to the end of the first episode, Grace People Talk, and you are very, very precious. And we are talking about missions, and we want to, like, whatever the questions that we have come up with and we are asking. And if you have any questions, please give it in the comment, and the next missions meeting we want to take up that question, and we want to answer those questions and see how God actually moves in the midst of us. And thank you so much for watching. God bless you.